Rob Thompson, Charger Career Connect. We got Roxanne Redwood. I just said it's a movie star name, so that's a big name. She's our guest today on the Career Connect program. This is a podcast and service for our student athletes and for our alums to connect them to alums out there who take similar paths in their lives that could share their information, share their knowledge, be a mentor. A couple of things. The career playbook is available. So if you go and you email me at robRthompson@newhaven.edu, the career playbook is in there. It's a video. It's for your disposal. It'll help you kind of frame in some of your thoughts, tips on your career. So you could do that at your own. This is one-on-one career coaching will be available later on. So any of our guests who are going to be on here are going to hopefully participate in a career coaching program. That'll be later on in the spring, and certainly align with some mentors, alums that are coming through these programs that are on our show that eventually could be a mentor for you if you are a current student athlete in the Charger program. So movie star Roxanne Redwood here. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
So you got out not too long ago. And like I said, the unique thing is, and I'm going to just talk a little bit about you, then I want you to talk about your background, is that you're a mechanical engineer major. You got your master's in engineering operation management. You took your time at the University of New Haven extremely serious. So I want you to talk about that part of it. I want you to talk about where you're from, where you grew up, and your transition from high school into the university, and why did you choose the University of New Haven?
Okay, so I'm from New Jersey. I'm not even going to say the town. No one knows it. It's near Six Flags area. And so going through choosing schools, I knew that I didn't want too big of a school because my personality, I'm an introvert. I'm really shy. I don't normally talk up. So I knew that I needed a classroom that didn't have too many kids so that I wouldn't just drown with the amount of kids in there, so that I would be able to talk up and speak and ask questions that I need to ask. And so choosing UNH for the engineering program, that was very good because there wasn't many people in the classes. And so it was very personal. And then it's interesting because I only did track for 2 years in high school before college because I did gymnastics my whole life. And so choosing track was weird because I was like, I know that even when I was a senior, I knew that freshmen did track longer than me. So it was really interesting for me. But Coach Williams and the track team made me feel very welcome. So I chose UNH for the school size and then the atmosphere that the track team had.
Was it because you wanted to join track again? And I know that you're a head coach with gymnastics now as kind of your passion projects, but was it because you were looking for more structure, or was that competitiveness that you wanted? I mean, linear thinkers are engineers, and kind of introverts, they all kind of go together with that.
Yeah.
And very structured lives and kind of your thought process. Did you stay involved as a student athlete because of that? Because you wanted that structure on and off, in and out of the classroom?
I needed the competitiveness. I did sports my whole life. And so I knew, I was like, I can't go to college and not do sports. And it kind of transfers into when I finished college, I was like, I still need sports. So that's kind of why I'm a head coach now. So I needed that competitiveness. And it also releases the stress with the engineering and for now work. So the sports I really needed.
What were some of the challenges that you faced, as a student athlete, with scheduling and managing your time and making sure that your priority, I'm sure, was 100% your grades and getting those projects done?
Yeah.
How did athletics and competition fall into your priorities from really taking advantage of your education?
It was a lot of time management, and I had to kind of separate the two. So when I was in classes, and I was actually fortunate, I know before you were talking about how when you were on the team, there was only one engineer. I was fortunate enough that on the jumper side, at least of track, there was at least 3 others that were with me. So we really worked together, and a lot of study hall and time management. And it was actually, I thought it would be a little bit easier since I did sports my whole life with the whole time management deal. But then coming into college and doing 6 a.m.s and then sometimes having 3-a-days, it was a little difficult. So in order to have time management and be able to like space out my time, so thinking about track and thinking about schoolwork when I'm doing schoolwork.
So how do you talk a little bit about, I have 3 questions going through my mind right now, but here's what I want to get to. The transition, and I think a lot of student athletes think once they leave college, like the homework's done, your routine is done. Like, how have you transitioned your routine? You say those 6 a.m. workouts. How have you transitioned your routine from being a student athlete to now being a professional in the executive in corporate America? Like, what are the similarities between the two?
Yeah, it's very similar. I'm so like being in college and knowing that, okay, at 3 o'clock, I got to go lift. And so even when I was in grad school, that was the like only time that I literally did not have any sports to do. So at 3 o'clock, I felt lost. So I had to be able to figure out what I was going to do at each time. And in college, I always had sticky notes or calendar, and I still have sticky notes all over my desk, even working from home, and like my calendar. And so now, like, I feel like I'm back at college because I have certain times in doing different things, and then at nighttime I have sports. So it's all pretty similar.
What was your mindset like back then? Because we all have challenges, and sometimes you can feel overwhelmed with things that you have. You have projects that are due, capstone projects, and then you have training. Coach Williams, is leaning on you to be a leader. Like, what was your mindset like then, and how do you look at yourself now and things that time prepared you for now? What was that transition like?
So I guess being able to speak up and say like when I'm a little overwhelmed. So back then I didn't really speak up. And so I just kind of did everything by the book and was like, okay. And even if I was overwhelmed, I just kept it inside. And so like my growth now that I see is like, if I'm a little overwhelmed, even at work, like I'll speak up and be like, okay, I'm a little overwhelmed. Can I do this another day or take something else on? And so being able to speak up when you're overwhelmed, because it happens to everybody, is very important.
Well, so that is so true. I should like to speak up too. So talk about the resources that you utilized on campus that you found the most useful for you from the career department, career development department, resume building, internships. Like, what are the resources that you used? And also, did you discover any mentors within that time, whether it was professors or administrators or coaches?
So the engineering program at UNH, they do a very good job with the fact that you need an internship in order to graduate. So you knew from this jump that you had to start looking for internships. So that was very good on their part. And then I was also part of NSBE, which is National Societies of Black Engineers. And I was for some time for that. And so going to different conferences also helped get your there, and also being able to just speak and have different interviews just on and off was a very good thing to do. And then one of my mentors, it wasn't necessarily a professor or a coach, it was actually one of my teammates. He was just older. He was older than me, but he was also a mechanical engineer, and we had some classes together. And he also helped me be able to speak up and step out of my comfort zone, because that's what I'm still trying to work on, is comfort zone. And so that very helps. So like your teammates, whether they're in your major or not, they may know like how you feel during certain situations.
Let me back up a little bit and brag about you, but some things that we didn't discuss to this point. But you did your internship with Church and Dwight in research and development and technology development. Is that Armor Hammer? Is that on the brand side? Yeah, that's what I thought. So you went through that. You interned as a therapist way before that at the Newark Public School System. With coaching with gymnastics, and now you're you're a rising star with Turner Construction Company on the engineering side. So talk about that transition. How important were those internships?
Yeah, so that's also an interesting transition because being a mechanical engineer, you don't necessarily see mechanical engineer majors in the construction field because that's more civil engineer. But being mechanical engineer, it's kind of like the umbrella of all the engineers. So it's very easy to transition parts of the engineering because at UNH you take civil classes, you take electrical classes as a mechanical engineer and some chemical engineer classes. So that's why it's a little bit easier as a mechanical engineer. So going into Turner, that's like the number one question as a mechanical engineer, like why construction? But I really like being able to build something and being able to see like, okay, my company did that. I helped successfully build that project.
When did you know, like, that discovery of exactly what you wanted to do? Did you know when you were a junior or senior, even earlier, that you wanted to be a certain type of engineer, whether it was mechanical or electrical, or did you have an idea of where you wanted to fit in? Did you want to go into the construction industry, or did the construction industry find you? Like, what was that process like?
Yeah, so I chose mechanical, like I said, just because I knew it was like the umbrella of all the different engineers. So I knew that if I chose to go into anything else, it would be a little bit easier, being that I took some of the classes. And as far as construction, it's kind of both. I kind of found it, and it kind of found me. I knew I wanted to do something hands-on based off of the different projects that I had at UNH, and I really enjoyed that aspect. And so Turner Construction, for the UNH career fairs, they were always there, like always there. So I always like went up to them and like I saw the different buildings that they built, and I felt a good vibe from them. But that was like my sophomore year, so it was like a little too early to think about anything. And then actually, when I was my master's, the same person is always there for the UNH career fairs, and he remembered me, and so he happened to reach out to me because one of the student athletes, he was on the football team for UNH. His name is Stephen Gaines. He also works for Turner Construction, and so him and the other guy that reached out to me, they asked if I was still interested. And so I went for an interview, and their vibe and like their atmosphere, and me, again, being an introvert and needing someone to kind of pull me out of my comfort zone, they do a very good job with it.
Well, you don't seem introverted to me at all. So maybe this is just a Zoom. So this is one of our last questions, and I think this is an important one because I think this really helps, say a lot about you. If you were to go back and give yourself advice when you were 18 years old, your freshman year, kind of nervous, trying to figure it out, we all went through that in the freshman dorm, trying to figure out who your friends are, where we fit in. What advice would you give to yourself about knowing what you know now and that overall experience? What advice would you give to yourself back then?
I feel like I keep kind of saying it because I'm kind of still trying to tell myself this up to now, but basically be your own advocate, speak up for yourself and get out of your comfort zone. Like any idea that you have, don't think twice about it, just go for it because someone else may be thinking it or it may help something else out. So speak up and step out of your comfort zone as much as possible.
I love it. Just be comfortable being uncomfortable, right? It's
Yes.
so important, and don't hide from anything. So Roxanne, how do people reach out to you? How would students reach out to you right now? Whether it's your social media channels, LinkedIn, or an email, we'll post it below. So it'll be below your name as well.
Okay, so it's pretty simple. My LinkedIn is Roxanne Redwood, first and last name, and then my email is also roxanneredwood@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. So, Roxanne, I tell you, you're just an incredible person, and we are so lucky to have you and call you a Charger alum. And I know Coach Williams was just thrilled. She couldn't wait to, when I asked, "Who do you have?" She was like, "Call Roxanne." So on behalf of all of us in Charger Nation, we're really proud to call you an alum and a Charger. Thank you so much for sharing your time. Hopefully you'll be involved as a mentor as we go forward with our student athletes to share your experience and inspiration. So on behalf of all of us at Charger Athletics and Charger Career Connect, thank you.
Thank you.
So you're not introverted, believe. Yeah, I enjoyed your time. So on behalf of Roxanne, this is Rob. You're watching Charger Career Connect. We'll see you next week, everybody. Take care.